You say
The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Preserving history, one veteran story at a time. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we are having a veteran story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? And make sure you hit up the website. That's the lostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. There's a couple ways you can help support us. You can go to that website. There's a one-time donation link. There's a become a patron, and that's a monthly donation. You can go and just get you some cool gear, purchase some merchandise, or if you have a business or something of that nature, you can advertise right here on the podcast. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project. They are out there doing amazing things. I encourage you all, go check them out, see what they're all about, and if there's any way you can help them, it would be much appreciated. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. Yeah.
so. I had to ask my parents for some money sent to me so that I could take care of these bills that she left me with. So eventually I got divorced from her in South Carolina. And the judge, didn't care about, the car, didn't care about all her actions and stuff like this. He granted the divorce, didn't care about all the money she took. Oh yeah, fun part. One day I got there to the credit union before she did and took the money out. She contacted the commanding general, who was the head of the credit union, as one of the officers, complained to my commanding officer. I got called up in front of the base CO in my greens, yes sir, why did you do this? You can't do this. And they didn't care about my excuse of she's taking all the money out of my account.
Yeah.
You have to give it back to her. I says, sir, it's my pay. He didn't care. You let her have it. What about me? I don't have anything. Let her have the money. I don't want to hear from this journal again.
Wow.
Okay, fine.
That's ridiculous.
Before things happened, I got really pissed off at this, and I said, fine, I'm going to request mass. And I did. I had basically two things on my request mass that I was complaining about. One, aircraft safety, and two, what happened with the wife. The fact that I had no support from the military, no assistance from the military, and all the things she did. And they wouldn't, and her command would not charge her. Her commanding officer was my old commanding officer when at hands.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
I can't allow you to see her because she's now in my squadron, and you're not in my squadron anymore. So I have to deal with her wishes. She doesn't want to see you.
Wow.
But she did this, and this. I don't care. She doesn't want to see you. You are hereby ordered not to contact her, not to see her. That's it. And stay away from our operations area.
Wow.
Okay. So I requested mass. And one of the things I was doing back then was I was a Boy Scout leader for the Laurel Bay kids. And they wanted a married member to do that, for that. So one night I was meeting with some of the parents and stuff like this. One of the guy works at Max 5, which is Marine Air Control Squadron 5. And these are the people who basically run air-to-air intercepts for the fighters when they do their dogfighting training. They go out to the warning areas off Hilton Head, and they tell the planes, okay, go to your corners, come out fighting, and, aircraft A, your plane is so-and-so, your aircraft B, your plane is so-and-so, whatever. and they would go and do that, and they would keep an eye on them, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had their own radar systems and control scopes, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
He was telling me that many times they're controlling the airplanes out there without any scopes because their radars are down.
Whoa.
Yes. And so that to me was a safety problem, because even though they are in the military warning areas, things can happen. They're flying close to each other, stuff like this. So I went all the way to the commanding general. I made a request to see the commanding general FMF land. The general from the 2nd Marine Air Wing came down, and I presented my case to him. I pointed out how these aircraft are flying in the warning areas without positive control of anybody, without them seeing them. And that could lead to a mishap out there, because they're flying at night. They can't see each other, and they don't turn on their lights at night because they don't want to be seen by the other person. They don't turn on the radars because they can be detected by the airplane. So they don't know where they are, but they're flying in the dark out there, hopefully by moonlight and stuff like this. And I said, sir, I believe there's going to be a mid-air collision that's going to happen in the warning areas out, in this area. I gave like 2 letters, B and D, I think, Bravo and Delta. And it's going to happen between the hours of 2000 to 2400.
Wow.
And I said, I believe it's going to happen for the next 3 months, because the following things happen. And the solution is the MAX 5 should come out and use some of the radars we have at the tower, control tower. In the back room, they can look at the scopes out and for the warning areas, and they can see where the airplanes are with the transponders, and have a general idea of where they are with their altitudes, and it can be safely, the aircraft can safely intercept each other.
Right.
And I told him what happened with the wife and stuff like this, and he said, "There's nothing you can do about that. That's what's done. What's done is done. Whatever." And I was divorced from her. Okay, and I was wanting her to be charged with crime, the violations of Uniform Code of Military Justice, conduct unbecoming, adultery, etc., those things, lying, etc. And anyways, I tried to talk to this general and stuff like this, and he told me that, "Sergeant, I believe you made a miscalculation, and you are completely wrong. This is not going to happen." I said, "Sir, I have to agree with you. I do believe I made a miscalculations. I no longer feel that there's going to be a mid-air collision that's going to happen within the next 3 months. It's going to happen within the next 2 weeks." And he threw me out of the office. 8 days later, around after 10 o'clock at night, 22 something plus, 2 jets from Fighter Squadron 122 were out there in the warning area, and they collided nose to nose at full speed.
Wow.
Yes. There were no pieces left of the airplanes.
Yeah.
No recoverable bodies whatsoever. The group executive officer died. The squadron executive officer for 122 died, and 2 other officers died also. There was no, basically there was nothing to put in the casket.
Yeah.
And like I said, it happened 10 days after I met with this general. And, like I said, I told him 2 weeks. It's going to happen the next 2 weeks. I was there at the funeral. I didn't get the word, but everybody else was in their greens. And since I was working, over at the tower, at the tower area and stuff, I was wearing my pulley woolly green sweater with my over my green trousers with khaki shirt. Right. That was it. So that, and also the fun thing was that supposedly when you request mass, you're not supposed to be punished for requesting mass.
Right.
My MOS for air traffic controller was removed. My aircraft maintenance MOS for aircraft, environmental and all ejection seat stuff, that was deleted. Like it never happened before. He gave me a choice of being a cook or a truck driver.
What?
Yeah, that was my choice. And I said, look, sir, I want to get out of here I want to get as far away from this person as I can. I don't want to see her. Every time I see her, it hurts. It tears me apart inside. I go out of the town and it reminds me the places I took her, the things we did, the restaurants we ate at, the theaters we went to, the grocery store, the department store, the sights we saw over the 4th of July, the river, everything else, the beach. I can't take it. It hurts too much. It makes me think of her, and when it does, it hurts. And it just tears me apart. And so I said I want to get as far away as I can. Send me. I said I want to be west of the Mississippi. And I said send me west of the Mississippi. I don't care where. So he sent me. And I told him, and I said, look, sir, my GCT is 138.
Yeah.
You need 120 to be an officer. I said, I want to, I like to be able to at least say, those jobs you're telling me has a GCT of 70 or 60,
Right.
That's an insult to my intelligence. I want something that I can, feel that my intelligence can do stuff like this. He said, well, I'll give you a chance to be, work on computers again here, because that was my thing I said. I said, okay, they have computers in supply. We're going to put you in supply. I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. Went to supply school in Meridian, Mississippi. I got, before I got there, I took a sites. I had purchased a new car because my clunker got rammed by a drunk driver, destroyed.
Oh,
so I bought a Toyota Corolla. And before I left the East Coast, I went to see all my friends I had there, people I met, and family, because I had relatives in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and I had some friends in Charleston and Maryland and stuff like this. I wanted to go see, and Chicago and Ohio. So I went north and came back down south and went to Meridian. And even with all that time I took on the trip, I got to my base a week early before my school started, or 2 weeks early. And they didn't like that too much, so they had me start with class a week early. I found out that the week after me is when they had the computer class. People who from that class could go to computer class. The one of that class I was in, only the top graduate could go to that computer class.
What?
Well, I didn't know that until at the very end, and I missed it by 0.01, a 0.1 of a score.
Wow.
A lady made it before me, and I screamed in the hall, and I says, and then you're telling me the next class is going to have a whole bunch of people from that? What are their scores? Are their scores lower than mine? I should be going to that class too. They said no. And I said, how about if I request mass? Remember, this time I get to see a Navy captain, not a Marine Corps person. And if you want to check with the Marine Corps, all the fun I had back on the East Coast, you don't want me to go through that again. And so, but I just let it go. I said, fine, I'll leave. I left. I went to California and El Toro, signed in and stuff like this. They put me in MAC 13. The wing supply person, senior master guns, said that he wanted to be a spy for him in the squad and the supply department, see all the nasty things they're doing and all the wrong things they're doing, and let him know.
Oh, geez.
And I said, gee.
And you were a sergeant at the time, yeah?
And I was a sergeant, yes, because when I enlisted, they made me a sergeant.
Yeah.
It's automatic. And so, yeah. So there I was at MAC 13. They signed me to a squadron. The squadron assigns me to the supply department. And they said, okay, we're going to put you in supply. We're going to put you down in the repair materiel section. Okay, great. Worked down there, and, they treated everybody like the officers and the senior NCOs were like drill instructors. And they ordered everybody around like recruits.
It's messed up.
That section. I mean, they yelled, they screamed, they cussed. Oh. And the entire supply was like that, just even up to the main warehouse, they were screaming and cussing and yelling and stuff like this.
Yeah,
you talk about demotivating people,
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
So I tried things I could to motivate them and stuff like this, and I said, let's play some games, okay? I got my 3-wheel bike, okay, and the squadrons are located near us, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, this next call for supply part. All right. We're going to see how fast we can get it to them. Okay.
Yeah.
Go through the process, do the paperwork, pick up the part. If we have it, we'll get it there as soon as we see how fast we can do it. Da, 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 da. And, so many times it was something like a tire or out of stock and stuff like this. So eventually we got one and ran it over, da, 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 and headed there in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Where's the old part? Oh, we haven't got out of the plane yet. I'll wait for it. So, we said, we're trying to improve our service for you guys. Okay. So we did those kinds of things. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Something to give pride in what you were doing,
Yes. And then they were using a bastardized basic program to keep control of the repairable parts versus the software and the printouts that the Marine Corps uses for the supply system.
Okay.
So no one understood how that worked. I didn't understand it, but they're supposed to update it every day with all the stuff that happened. And in there, they could look and say how many parts are, X-rep or expeditious repair, et cetera, and how bad they are in supply or getting a turnaround and parts repair and stuff. And these other things that, like I said, it was a basic handmade program that somebody wrote up, and and it was the computer system used COBOL at the time, and that's what it was. And after a couple months there, I told them that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't. They had a big meeting about motivation and stuff like this. And they asked, who doesn't want to be here? I raised my hand. I said, sir, I'm not, I don't really go for the style of the management that's here, what you're doing and stuff, fear and intimidation. I says, I want to go someplace else, another section,
Yeah. I'm betting that didn't go over well.
That didn't go well, but they put me in another section. That was fine. So they put me in plans and programs. Hold on. No. What they did is they said, okay, we'll find something for you to do. And they put me, they said, okay, we have work assignments done for people. And we're going to put you with base housing. And you're going to be in charge of the transit enlisted barracks.
Okay.
That's nice. I said, okay, what is that? I said, well, you see that wooden barracks right there? Right next to the band and and all these other places. The band had a wooden barracks also. These are old World War II barracks, open squad base.
Right.
And he said, well, what you're going to do is you're going to make them habitable. You're going to build the racks. You're going to have to find the racks because we can't order any parts on any racks or mattresses for you. You're going to have to find the racks, find the mattresses, and build wall lockers. We got wall lockers brand new in boxes. You have to build them.
Whoa.
And he says, oh, that's nice. I said, where's the tools? Oh, we don't have any tools. How do you expect me to build them? I said, well, you're a sergeant. You figure it out. Do I get any help? Well, we might send one or two guys to help you. And they had 20 people inside taking care of they took care of the NCO barracks, or not the NCO, but the staff of the NCO barracks, another cement barracks, the office where these people worked out of, and the women Marine barracks. Those are the barracks they took care of and stuff like this. And and I got two guys, and they gave me the two worst workers they had.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I found racks in a building that they were repainting, one of the older quasi-open bay, but they were transitioning them into partitioned areas within, instead of an open bay, they partitioned them a little bit. But they had all these racks outside, so I went over there and acquired many of the things, and I made bunk beds, first floor and second floor. Got the first floor built, then I worked on the second floor. Then I got the mattresses. And then they finally got me some sheets. They said, okay, we're going to open you up. And they said, oh, we want you to stay here on the weekends and overnight, every night, to be the duty NCO. I said, I have a life. I didn't join this. I didn't come here to do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, we'll assign somebody else to duty. And I said, okay, fine. But, you have my number if you need me, whatever.
Yeah.
So I did that close to 8 months and stuff like this.
Okay.
And I said, I had enough of this. This assignment is supposed to be for 90 days. These duties are supposed to be 90 days.
Yeah.
Not 6 months and stuff like this. I'm getting close to 90 days of doing this stuff. Enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
I worked hard, and stuff like this. I beautified that barracks. I went to the supply section where they have all the stuff they throw away and stuff like this. I found curtains, and I nailed the curtains up because I couldn't get curtain rods.
Oh,
so they made it look nice, put curtains up around the windows. I got paint from all the squadrons, used paint cans and stuff, and I painted murals on the stairway walls, 2 walls, entrances.
Oh, wow.
On one side, I had F-18s.
Okay.
Attacking, MiG-21s or something like that, in clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And then another wall, I had a marine landing. I had tanks and landing craft going up a hill from the beach. So I had those painted. So, I had, with all the spare cans of paints, I could make, green and browns and stuff for soil. Mm-hmm. And I used the aircraft gray and white and stuff like that to make the airplanes. And I used a highlighter, a black magic marker to highlight the edges of the airplanes and the tanks and other things, helicopters. So it looked really nice. And the general, when he came by one time, he looked at it and said, "Wow, this is amazing." So
very nice.
For that. And like I said, kept the bathrooms cleaned the best we could. The tiles were coming off the floors in the shower, and we did our best to try to fix that, or not. We couldn't fix it because they wouldn't give us any putty or glue, anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
So we made the best that we could do out of that. But we painted what we could. We built all the wall lockers and stuff. Those were all put up and arranged.
Wow. And you did all that within a 6 month period.
I did that with a small group of people and stuff like this. And for the tools, I went to the base exchange. They had their workshop right across the roadway, the back behind the barracks. Their building there. They had all their stuff there. They had tools, hand ladders and stuff. And I went there, and that's where I got my ladder and other things to work on doing the murals and stuff. We got a long piece of wood and stuff. We stood on and put a ladder up and things, and and we had it nice. So even had the base photo office came out and they took a picture of it in black and white. So
no kidding. Wow.
Yeah, I talked, and we used the barracks for basically when people came for training at El Toro. If they went to a school or something like that, or transitioning to overseas, and they were catching a flight from our base to overseas and stuff. The Air Force wasn't happy because they had an E2 come in, and I said, "Squad bay, that's it's good enough for E4s. E5 gets the room, but he's an E2." They said, "No, he gets a private room." I said, "No. Here's the orders. I know you're Air Force, but I'm sorry, this is the Marine Corps.
Yeah,
E4s and above, or E4s and below, squad bay. E5, room upstairs, and then somebody in the room already." I said, I said, I can't sign your orders or deny your orders or anything like that. I won't endorse them or anything like that. And I always said, if you want me to endorse them, I said, refuse the quarters provided. That's what I said. But this is the Air Force. So anyway, got back. Eventually I got back, and they put me in plans and programs, which is like an auditing function for the supply. What you would do is you would make a request to the computer department to run all parts ending with a stock number, ending with 4 or 5 or 9 or whatever number you want. And then you would go out and you would do spot checks on consumable parts and repairable parts. And you would basically doing a 10% audit to verify everything is correct and what they say there is.
Right.
Okay. And you do that every couple of weeks because it takes you a while to go through the entire list.
Right.
And we also did, I was also there for when they did the supply inventory, 100% supply inventory, put everything in the box. We had everything in big wooden boxes, large ones that were measuring like 5 feet, 8 feet across,
Oh, wow.
4 feet high, and 5 feet deep. You know,
Right.
big boxes with, and they would come with, you know, you put stuff in there and pile it up, and they would deploy. They would just take all the boxes, and they're numbered,
Mhm.
what their station is and stuff, so you could find the parts in there. We did one of those too for the station, for the squadron, I guess. HNHS 13 or headquarters 13 supply. Then they said, "Oh, we're going to." They put me in charge of the transportation section, and they said,
Okay.
"Oh, we have an issue though. All the drivers have to go in for retraining of driver education because they've all gotten in accidents, and also all the trucks are broken. You have no vehicles."
Oh my God.
So I went to transportation, and they told me it opens at 4:00 in the morning, and I said I need a letter from supply saying that I need a vehicle, and they wouldn't give me one. You know, I needed a vehicle, but they wouldn't give me a letter saying I request a vehicle to be had every day. They wouldn't give me that.
Wow.
So I had to be there 4:00 every morning, every day.
What?
All the trucks were gone. By the time, you know, they would go through, people had orders and request for vehicles first.
Right. Yeah.
They had all our vehicles, like 5 trucks that were broken with either, you know, wheel bearings, you know, something, engine problems, or carburetor this, or wheel this, you know, differential that. Okay. And then I said, okay, what's left? And they said, well, we don't have anything. You know, I said, what do you have that's drivable? I said, I need something that I can carry parts in. He said, well, we have a Jeep and a trailer. I says, I'll take it. So I drove a M151 Jeep with a trailer for parts. Yes. And I took basically, I used that trailer, and I put I put one C-130 main tire in the back of the Jeep. I put 2 C-130 main tires in the trailer, so they sat right in the trailer. I went from the dock and dropped it into the trailer, so they fall right into place. And hopefully it didn't roll. You know, hold it so it didn't roll too fast and fall out. Right. And then I drove it over to the C-130 squadron, which is on the other side of the base, because there were, you know, bases. El Toro has got the fighter base, all the fighters there. It's got the attack base with A4s and A6s on another place. Then the other place had the reserve squadron A4s, and then the C-130 squadron. So those are the 4 parts of the base. So I was over there, and I got it there, and I said, okay, I got your tires. Where do you want them? And he said, well, I'll take them outside the hangar here, right here. And I says, I need some help get them off. Okay. You know how big the main ones are. We unloaded, came back, got some more and stuff like this, and got all the tires they wanted. And you know, and they rebuild the tires, the main tires, on that's with the C-130 squadron is in a different hangar. So many times I would just have to go to the hangar, pick up the tires, and just drag it over there. And I use that Jeep all the time. Another time we came across an issue where the C-130s needed some comm nav gear refixed. Their gyros fixed, I guess. And they get them fixed at a place up in Canoga Park in north of Los Angeles. So I said, okay, let's take them up there. Take it to the manufacturer, because that's the depot for them. They couldn't fix it at the intermediate level. So I loaded up 2 of them, three of them, as a matter of fact, put 2 in the trailer, 1 in the inside the Jeep. Went in my Charlie uniforms, took my cover off because I had the thing down, and there you go on Interstate 405 all the way to Canoga Park to take these things, take them in, drop them off. Got the paperwork signed for it. I says, we need these fixed as soon as possible. The squadron, is in dire need of this, these items. You're the manufacturer of them. Bring them back, send them back to us as soon as you can. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Another time, we have always had problems with gyros. And the problem was that the gyros came in a special plastic box, a big thing. Inside there are giant springs that hold the gyro on a special platform so that, with this vibration and stuff like this. And it has it's strapped in, and then it has a big lid that goes on top. And it's like the photo boxes you find, but they're humongous. They're like, they had like 18 inches all around each side of air around them. And springs so it doesn't move. And what the problem was that they ran out of those because some of the squadrons were using them as ice chests. They would put beer and soda inside there and water and things. And they wouldn't give them back to us when they returned the compass that we delivered to them. So we always had to make sure that we take the compass out, give it back to them. Where's your old compass? Thank you. We put it in there, sealed the box, brought everything back. So.
Wow.
I know it was a madhouse. Well, out of curiosity, one time we went up to Wing Supply. I guess it's run by the Navy, or Base Supply. I found 198 gyros to the A4 aircraft.
Wow.
Sitting on the ground, wrapped in bubble wrap. There were our supply parts we had. There were X-rep items, which means these parts cannot be fixed at the intermediate level. They have to go back to the manufacturer to be fixed. They refused to ship them out because they did not have in those giant plastic containers.
Right.
And I went to the wing master sergeant. I said, look, this is what's going on over there. The A4s can't fly because there's no compass in them. The A6s can't fly because there's no compasses either. They're in need of equipment. This is where they're all at, and they're in bubble wrap on the floor. And you'll find all the stuff there, whether it's X-rep, which means expeditious repair. They took it out of the airplane. They don't have anything in it. Fix it, and we'll put it back in. That's how it's supposed to work. I had to go down to San Diego many times. And I had to pull screws and panels off of old A4 airplanes down there at NARF, and that they had in the junkyard to bring back to fix airplanes. So I did that too.
Wow.
Yep. And then the fun part came. After plans and programs, they said, the captain that gave me all these wonderful assignments says, I'm going to make you the Cisco. I says, I can't do that. I don't know what the job entails. I'm not trained for that. I have no knowledge of how to do that job. Well, you're doing it. You're hereby ordered to do it. I says, you're doing this to give me a bad fitness report. No, you're doing it because I'm ordering you to do it. Aye, aye, sir. Went down there. The guy was leaving the next day. He gave me all his notes he had, and he left. And so I had to run. He said, these are the reports you have to run every week. These are the stack of cards you need to run. Basically, type them up, put the new dates on them, and these cards, punch cards, and give it to the computer people, and they'll run the reports for you.
Wow.
That's they had the computers back there, and they did it. Since I was in high school, I knew how to use a punch card machine because I worked on the computers there. I knew how to punch cards, do collate, how to sort them, et cetera, et cetera. I knew how to just burst the reports they had because we had to do similar reports in high school. They print out multi-page reports. And, like I says, first copy, the best copy goes to the group supply officer. Second copy goes to the squadron supply officer. Third copy, And the fifth copy would go to the supply, one of the supply offices. We have consumable supply, repairable supply, just other things like this. Okay, that's how we did it, and I did it. And we never had one report late. Everything was done on time. It was there when they got there in the morning. And I got there early in the morning to do that stuff when I was at the Cisco and stuff. And eventually they got a new Cisco come in. He says, "Do you know how to do this job?" And I says, "Nope. I just got these cards here and that's it." And I try to run the reports as needed and, and make special requests when they do it. And I follow the book that it says how to do it. And he says, he was trained to do it. And he came in like 30 days after I started.
Yeah.
And, he wrote up a report and saying that I had no knowledge of how to do the job. I shouldn't have been assigned to this job because of that. But nevertheless, the reports were done on time. We had the computer system up so that the Navy could come in and do their payroll on our computers.
Wow.
They would come in and do reports and punch out or print out the paychecks on IBM cards, especially the paycheck IBM cards. And they did all that. So, okay, and they did that twice, hey.
Yeah.
So that's, brownie points when the Navy can use somebody's system and says, "Hey, what? Guess who got the attaboy? The captain upstairs. Guess what I got? A bad first report." He said, "I didn't know how to do the job. I did it very badly." And I complained to the CO. I says, "I told him that this was going to happen. I did the job. Everything was okay. There were no problems whatsoever." And he gives me this stuff, and it's a bunch of lies. I say, "Who are you going to support? You're going to support your officers or your enlisted men who do the work?" And the colonel says, "I'm going to support my captain." I said, "Okay, fine. Don't ask me to help you get it." So, the Cisco captain decided to give me was, he told us that the entire wing is working on doing something called the Rapid Deployment Force because of issues in the Middle East, kind of thing.
Right.
And because they had all that stuff that happened previously, with Carter and stuff, the rescue and things like this. But they wanted to have, we want to be able to deploy our air wing quickly. So this is what's going to happen. We're going to send a bunch of planes to an unknown place, and you're going to support them. And he says, "Okay, you're going to be supporting the units that are out there from MAG 13. Okay, got it. We're going to have a truck come by once a day that'll pick up the parts and take them out there." Okay, got it. So all I have to do is work with, consumable parts as well as the repairable parts section and have the parts ready for the truck when it shows up. Right. Okay. Aye, sir. Got it. Not one truck showed up ever.
What?
So knowing that these people needed the parts real quickly, I called base operations and said, "Hey, what flights are heading out to the, I guess the deployment area, for other term uses, mission area. What planes are going out there? Do you have an idea what's planes type or stuff like this? And just give me a general idea." And they said, we have the reconnaissance squadron is going to do a reconnaissance run at 2:00. Okay. I got a big, part I needed to take out there. I called the squadron up and says, "Can I have it loaded on that airplane and have it taken out there?" They said, "Yes." I said, "Great. Where do I go to meet the airplane and get it on board?"
Right.
They said, "Okay." And I heard it just taking off at 2:00. And rushed out to the squadron. Planes on the flight line. And I climb up onto the cockpit or to the back seat, and I says, "Here, this is an extra supply part. Take it to your work area after you land and do whatever," and gives it to the supply people. He says, "No, we can't put it there. Put it in the nose." I says, "You got cameras in there. Put it in the nose." Okay. If I'd known that, I would have brought tape. But it was wrapped in bubble wrap. We stuffed it in there. We dropped the camera down from the nose, threw it in there on top of the camera, closed the nose, buttoned it up, saluted and whatever. I got the side number, flight mission number and stuff like this. Called supply at the mission site and say, "This aircraft is coming with this part in the nose. This is the aircraft number. This is the mission number. This is the best I can do to get it to you." And they sent it out there. And I said, "Well, I can't depend on Phantoms because I thought they're going to be taking, like we used to, on our Phantoms, we used to put a luggage rack on the bird in place of a fuel tank on the wing.
Okay.
And that was common thing to do. And they put their flight suits in there and civilian clothes or uniforms or whatever and other items and a ditty bag. So I said I could throw some parts in there, but I said a lot of the planes didn't go that way or do those kind of stuff. So I called the helicopter squadron, Tustin, and said, what helicopters are going out to that area? And I found out, and I says, let me know when. I got the plane, whatever helicopter, and I called the squadron and says, can you drop some parts off over there at the workout, the deployment area? And I started doing that. Okay.
Wow.
And I did that. Well, along came, I did that for about a week and a half. And I says, you're going to have to find somebody else to do this because I've been selected for the Marine Rifle Team. And they're going to be shooting at Camp Pendleton next week. I'm going to be there. So I went to Camp Pendleton.
Okay.
And I instructed another guy, another corporal. These are what I do. These are the numbers to the squadrons, to the towers for Tustin, as well as El Charro. Find out when the planes are going. Find out what parts you can do. Remember, it's 1-to-1 swap, etc., except for consumables. After a week at Camp Pendleton, my orders were canceled for the rifle team, and I was sent back there to there. And I said, and I went and I said I complained to the colonel that gave me, that wouldn't do anything about my bad fish report. And I says, sir, I showed them how to do it. They can do it. So, and if you're saying, you're telling me I'm the only person who can do the job, do this out of everybody in 3 supply groups, the helicopters, the fighter squadron, and the attack squadron. I'm the only one that can do this. You gave me a bad fitness report, and you're telling me I'm the only one that can do this. I said, sir, you lost me. When you screwed me over, you made sure that I don't do anything for you ever again. I'm not going to do it. Find somebody else. I'm going back to Camp Pendleton to finish rifles qualifications.
Yeah.
And he screamed and he cussed and everything else. I explained to him, you screwed me over. I told you he was screwing me over. You went with your officer. You didn't go with your man. Your man doesn't have to kiss your ass anymore. Wow. What are you going to do about it? I said, I'll request mass the commandant of the Marine Corps. Go ahead, make my day. Like I said, I was with the things that happened on the East Coast and everything else and stuff that was happening there. And, if I, whatever. So I was just.
It seemed like you were pretty fed up with everything.
I wasn't going to take any crap anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
So eventually I got to request mass on the West Coast. Ooh. Do you know that when you request mass, you have to put in writing what your request mass is? And I read the regulation, and it says you don't have to tell anybody what your request is. But the sergeant major wanted to know. You have to submit a letter to the sergeant major why you want to see the general.
Right.
Yes. I'm talking. Go. I'm done. I'm done. I know. Give me time. Okay. Bye. So I wrote on a letter. Mailed, put it in an envelope. It says to the sergeant major, my request is personal in nature. I wish to speak with the commanding general only. Because I followed the regulation. It says I don't have to tell anybody what I'm talking about with who the person I want to speak with.
Right.
The sergeant major was extremely pissed off. He wouldn't let me see the commanding general. But the IG was coming. So I requested mass to the IG.
Okay.
So I got to talk to this colonel, an old fart, and explain what happened on the East Coast and stuff like this, and the aircraft midair and everything else, what that general did and stuff like this, and what's happening over here. And I am so tired. It says if they're giving me bad fitness reports. If I want to make a career in the Marine Corps, I can't because they're screwing me over with these bad fitness reports,
right?
And it's all bogus.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling me that I can't, I do a great job. They give me bad fitness report. They tell me I can't do the job. They give me the bad fitness report because I'm not supposed to be able to do the job because I don't have the knowledge or the ability to do it, but I did it anyways. That's supposed to be a good fitness report, not bad. I'm doing this stuff with the Rapid Deployment Force, and they're saying that I'm the only one that can do it out of the 3 Marine air groups, and they're going to give me another bad fitness report. I said, I'm tired of this stuff. I want honesty and truth in my fitness reports, and I want some heads. I'm tired of this. I'm going to go public with what happened on the East Coast of the mid-air if I have to, and all this other stuff. He said, well, let me make some phone calls and stuff like this. An hour later, he calls me back in, reads me the Riot Act, and tells me that if I intend to re-enlist, I'm going to get a 3-year tour at Diego Garcia.
What?
Yep. And I said, thank you very much, sir. And I knew I wasn't going to stay in the Marine Corps because I didn't want to go Diego Garcia.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Because that was this guy. And I said, oh, I saw just out of fun. I recorded him on a tape recorder. On everything.
Really?
Yes, I did. So if I ever wanted, go to the, board of review or whatever, court board of review, I'll have that stuff there.
Yeah.
With, what he said and all the screaming and everything else and threats. So,
wow.
So, I started looking for a civilian job. Found one at Hughes Aircraft Company. And I was going to start after the 4th of July. The 5th of July was my first day of work. 4th of July came, and I was on medical hold because of my bad back and stuff. I went to the transit barracks, and I signed out. It says, I'm retiring. My last day is the 4th of July. Goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen. They never gave me a certificate that says honorable discharge or anything like that. I got my DD-214. That was it.
Okay.
I left. About 2 months later, in August, about a month later, a little over a month, I joined the the Marine Corps Reserve, and I came back in as an air traffic controller. I said I didn't want a re-enlistment bonus because I was afraid that if I asked for a re-enlistment bonus with all the stuff happening on the East Coast and I took money, that would be fraud.
Okay.
So I said I was an air traffic controller, and I want to be an air traffic controller in the reserves. So I did that. I joined MAG 48.
Okay.
Alpha. And like I said, we went on the weekends. We did nothing. Absolutely nothing. I sat on my buns. I got so bored that I started helping the radar technicians fix their radar systems and build, set up and tear down the radar systems on the field. Because I was so bored. We weren't doing anything as air traffic controllers. The equipment, there was nothing to do. You read a book, okay, fine, that's it. You couldn't work in the tower, the main tower, and the base. They wouldn't, they just sat there. You came in, roll call, inspection, went to a classroom, did some classes maybe, and then lunch, back to classroom maybe, sign in, sign out, come back the next day.
What?
So got deployed. My 2 weeks was at Bogue Field because they spent the previous year at Wendover, Utah in the desert. So it's either swamp or desert. Take a pick. So they did desert last year, so we went to the swamp the following year. So at Bogue Field, we went out to Bogue Field, and we got to work some planes, but they were far and few between. We mostly played cards, hearts and spades.
No kidding.
Yeah. That's all we did. At
is
night,
that
we walked
because-
off the base to go to a ramshack, torn down wooden building. The floors were sagging and everything else. And we got beer out of an ice chest, played pool, and we walked back. That was it. Walked off the base right outside the gate, and then we came back in. That was it. So we made we had MREs, or we had some kind of dehydrated food in a quasi mess hall. Showers were in a tent. We lived in a tent. We had mosquito netting around us. Lived on cots. So So it was too hot for sleeping bags.
Yeah, yeah. In
And
North
the mosquito
Carolina,
netting didn't work. We had light bulbs in the center of the tent, or it was a metal shelter with screens around it.
Oh, okay.
Screen. So there's but they weren't sealed, so the mosquitoes still got
Right.
in. So
Of course, yeah. And I bet you they
and
didn't
the
issue
gates and the
mosquito
doors,
nets.
had springs on it that didn't close all the way.
Right.
Okay. I did that, and then they told me that in the summertime, one time they said, "We noticed that you're helping the other guys over there. You're not doing anything with their controllers." And I said, "Because they're not doing anything." And so I'm helping the radar pecks. And I said, "Well, we have to do some reassignments, and we're gonna send you to the rifle range to be an instructor or a coach there." And I said, "How long is that going to last?" I said, "I don't know, forever, I think." And I said, "I don't want to go to Camp Pendleton. I don't want to drive down to Camp Pendleton. It was bad enough coming down to El Toro."
Yeah.
And I said, "I have to go to Camp Pendleton now, and I have to be there at 4:00 in the morning, or I have to leave early in the morning to be there by sunrise." I said, "Oh, no, thank you." I said, "Find somebody else." I said, "Well, okay." About 2 weeks later, a letter came in from the 4th Marine Air Wing, says, "Your services are no longer required. Go home." Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got that letter in my files too. So, and so I looked into the Air Force Reserve and joined the Air Force Reserve. And
okay.
they took me on. So anyway, I was working as a civilian as an aerospace defense industry.
Okay.
They told me they couldn't spare me for a multi-week or month school in the Air Force, so I had to find something that only required a 2-week school, and that turned out to be air cargo specialist, which was loading and unloading cargo airplanes, passenger airplanes, things of that nature, C-5s, 141s, C-130s, anything else in between, C-9s, et cetera, 707s.
Right.
DC-10s, KC-135s, you name it, we did it.
And that was a 2-week course, or
that was
under
a 2-week
2
course,
weeks.
and I came in number 2 in the course.
Okay.
And I was very close to the top. Another individual got there, got ahead of me, and they were happy. The squadron was happy. I was with the 50th Aerial Port Squadron, and out of Norton Air Force Base at the time. So they were happy, and they said, "My goodness!" So number 2, they gave me a certificate of appreciation. We saw the certificate and everything else, with a grade in on there. Course, 96 point something, and I said, "Okay." And I took all my required CME courses, whatever correspondence courses. I did those quickly, and they were impressed with that. So, then I said, "Well, I'm going to apply for OCS in the Air Force." And then when I did, they just reduced the age from 27 down to 24.
Oh.
And I was 25, and they would not grant a waiver.
Wow.
Yeah, or 26. They wouldn't grant a waiver. The Air Force wouldn't grant a waiver, and they said, "We want the young people." And I said, "Okay." And that's it. So I spent the rest of my time in the Air Force. Finished off my 8 years active duty, a year and a half of Marine Corps reservist time, and finished it like 22 years worth of total service years. And I retired from the Air Force. So I get it. I'm officially a pension from an Air Force person. So that's it. But aerospace defense, I worked in logistics, provisioning, tech manuals, supply support, determining levels of support and maintenance on parts, determining how number of spares you need. I also at the time got my master's in international business while at Hughes, as well as my master's in logistics engineering management, which was what I was doing. So that I would say, "Hey, look, I'm a logistics engineer 1. I'm eligible for 2 and 3 because I now have a master's degree in this program and stuff." Great, And then married my wife. She was a physician from Spain, trying to learn to become a doctor here in the United States. And eventually she passed the foreign medical exam, which was extremely tough because they grade by the number of people they want to allow into the field, not by how good you do on the test. Yeah, so it's a floating passing grade. You can do 98 on the test. I'm sorry, we're taking 98.5, or something like that. Anything above that. You got to, you had to get 100 or something. But even then, sometimes that didn't work. So she got. So I helped her find a match to a hospital where she could be trained to become a doctor, and she wanted to do cardiology and stuff and internal medicine.
Nice.
So we sent packets. We had to have, a passport photo in each one, a form, a resume, medical transcripts of your schools, et cetera, et cetera. And we had to submit that to each hospital that she applied to. And then what they have is a national match where she got interviews to some places where would say, okay, we want to interview you. She went to these places to get an interview. And if they liked her, they would say they would make a decision and say, our choices for, what we have 6 openings. These are our number 6 choices of these are the people we want. And then they would send their numbers to the national organization, put it all in the computer, and they would all mix it together and match. They would call it the national match, where your choices would match with the hospital choices, kind of a thing. And the people who did not match would then be given a list of the hospitals that did not get any matches because, Joe Blow may want to go to Harvard Hospital, the hospital on Harvard, and he doesn't want to go to Baltimore or DC or something like that. He wants to go to Harvard, or something. So the openings that did not match, they would say, okay, these are the openings we have. Resubmit. You have by this date. You would go through the process again and get a match. And she got, she interviewed at Morristown Memorial in New Jersey, and they had an opening in pediatrics. Okay. So she called the pediatrics department or the internal medicine department and said, since I didn't match for the internal medicine and they have openings in pediatrics, can you send my package to pediatrics and see if they would, they'll consider me. She got matched, so we moved from California. We lived in Laguna Hills right outside El Toro, and I drove a U-Haul out there and towing a car, and we had the other car driven out to us, and they went to my wife and the 2 kids went to California to Colorado, stay with my mom, and I drove with my dad to New Jersey. We got to New Jersey. Had the truck there, and then Marta came and to the hospital, and we got an apartment, and then we moved stuff from out of our truck and stuff like that. And we put it into the 2-bedroom apartment we had. Okay. And we basically had 2 kids, a nanny, and me and the wife. So we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment for a while and stuff like that, which was on the hospital grounds. Eventually, we bought a house there, and then she did her residency, I guess, of the program there. And then she went to Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in New York City to do her specialist in oncology and hematology. And while she was there, she got pregnant and she caught the pneumonia. And she had to drop from the program because of both those things. She couldn't, she was in the hospital for a while because of the pneumonia. Right. And she had to drop the program. And then she said, well, she doesn't care for the East Coast too much because of the weather, the snow so much. We had in April, end of March, we had a snowstorm that was so big that nobody could come to the party, and the roads were closed. It was like 12 inches of snow. Wow. So that was it. So, here's Kitty Dad. Mine doesn't want to sit on my lap. But then from there, we moved to Texas, and we've been here since 1996.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
So, in New Jersey, I was at McGuire Air Force Base for my reserve training. And I was with the 88th Aeroport Squadron. And then I went to Kelly with another squadron, and they had just combined squadrons. They closed down the San Antonio airport, which was an Air Force base, and they closed it, and everybody went down to Kelly, and they said, before you are considered for promotion, we have to promote everybody that's been here at Kelly longer than you, and everybody that's came from the bases in Austin before you, and the other bases around San Antonio before you, and then we'll eventually think about you getting promoted.
What?
And yes, that's the way they try to do it. And like I said, since nobody is retiring, and they're already staff heavy, they're already senior masters and master sergeants and sergeants, all this other stuff, top heavy, and most of those guys didn't do shit. They couldn't kick them out. They couldn't make them retire or anything like that. There was no promotions. So,
wow.
And after I did my many years, and the wife says, why are you putting up with this stuff? You go there every month, and they don't care. You work hard, you do stuff, you do extra stuff, and they don't care. Why? Why put up with it? So, well, who knows? Trying to get the points. And I got out, retired, and about a year later, because I talked to my previous colonel at 88th, and he got to the promotion board, and I said, sir, I last got promoted in 1978. Look at it now. I'm in the 90s now, 20 years. I'm still not considered for promotion. And that's because there are no openings. And that's really unfair. I got 2 master's degrees, 2 associate's degrees, a bachelor's degree, and I do the stuff that the techs and master sergeants do. You tell me to stop doing that because it embarrasses them. And I keep telling you, well, just promote me to them because I can do the job. They're not doing the job. Promote me. They're not doing it. I'm doing it. Promote me. And he says, I can't. I said, well, sir, that's unfair. Think about us. We're here many, many years, and the ranks and promotions go very, very fast up to E5. After that, it's a roadblock. I said, think about it. We had a lady that works a civilian job as a reservist kind of thing. I said, she became a drill instructor in boot camp, did 1 platoon, got promoted to tech sergeant. She's back now. She's making master sergeant after 3 months of being in that office, after just making tech. And I'm still here fighting to get tech. Yeah. And then they're talking about making her a senior master sergeant within 6 months after she makes master sergeant. And I said, you're talking about fairness. I can't get promoted. She's getting promoted within a year, hold these ranks and stuff like this. And it's ridiculous. And he came up with, I guess he worked on something and said, all these people that have been staff sergeants for X number of years and have these qualifications, have been in good standing, et cetera, are automatically promoted to tech now. Kind of thing. Because he knew that they saw that. They could see on the manning list, how many staff sergeants do you have? Well, it's basically about 70% of the squadron.
Wow.
It's 70%. Yeah. It's some absurd number like that. And they're not getting promoted because there's no way up, And some of them are getting frustrated. They may get out and they may quit.
Right.
Give them a chance. So, anyways, but that was it. Then about after we moved here, about 5 years after living here, I found out about the Marine Corps League by a member who I was at the Home Depot, and I saw his Marine shirt, and I said Semper Fi Marine, and he started talking to me, and he got me to join. So I was back in the late 90s.
Yeah. So you've been doing it quite a while then.
Yeah. Over 20 years.
Wow. Yeah. Now, what are the things that you appreciate and that you like about the Marine Corps League?
Well, it's basically people getting together, telling tall tales and stuff. So,
yeah. I understand tall tales. That's all good. Yeah,
like at Millington and stuff like this, a bunch of us Marines were working to the post exchange, and we passed an officer, and we all of us saluted with our left hand. Hey, he saluted back with his left hand.
No kidding.
Hey, like I said, we pulled jokes too,
Yeah. That was good though. Left hand salute, and he returned with the left hand. He probably freaking out, didn't know what to do.
Like I said, we had fun. We had our own kind of jokes,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
that was it. We had stressful periods where we were trying to get airplanes up and running and working and stuff. Refueling them and stuff. Taking out oxygen bottles in the middle of a thunderstorm at a Cherry Point. Every time you touch the wires that tell you how much oxygen is in the tank, you get a shock because you're grounding yourself because you're sitting in a puddle of water. You're all soaked. You went zap, zap. So you have to get up there and twist it, and then after disconnect, you disconnect it, and you come out and gee whiz, just all those fun things, Yeah.
That's the great thing is we have so many stories to tell. It's truly amazing, and I love sitting here and getting to hear everybody's story because everyone's story is a little bit different, but it's very unique, and I have a good time listening to everything.
Oh yeah, so we had good times and stuff. We get off the ship. We go. The first thing we did was laundry. The second thing we did was club hopping. Good meal,
right?
Then hit the clubs.
Yeah.
When we get off the ship, that's the first thing: laundry, and then the other stuff. So,
priorities.
Yes. And we got Liberty off the ship at Fort Lauderdale right after spring break, and we caught the tail end of a lot of the college people and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was
very
fun.
Nice.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, Chuck, thanks for coming on and telling your story. It was very fascinating. I appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me and stuff. I wish we can get all these Marines, the old timers as well as the youngsters involved and say, hey, let's just simply a gathering of Marines who talk about stuff that they did.
Absolutely.
And you may hear their stories, and some are fun, some are ridiculous, some are, getting over on the system and,
yeah,
trading new stuff for old stuff. We wanted to steal T-38 from Oceania, but we couldn't figure out how to put it in a C9.
That's awesome.
Because it has wings, we're thinking about tilting it and stuff like this, And,
oh man, that's too good.
They gave us a C9 for take our stuff, and that was ridiculous. So,
yeah.
But we would have done it if we could have figured out how to get the wings off.
Yeah.
So.
That's crazy.
I know.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Well, shoot, Chuck, thanks. If there's anybody else out there that that might be willing to tell their story.
No problem. I was thinking, we have a couple of people I can think of some good stories,
Yeah.
We have a gentleman who's a sheriff's deputy, retired now, but he was a reservist with a Marine Cannon outfit in communications. So he has some great stories about his time with the cannoneers and stuff. So
right.
And of course we have I got Keith who worked with the helicopters in Vietnam, and I met him over working on F4s also.
Oh, no kidding! Wow.
So
okay.
You met him over in South Carolina. So
yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'm always game. This is my passion. I love doing it. I love hearing stories. So
thank you very much. Like it says, I appreciate it, and they should do more. They did a lot of this stuff. Same thing with the Museum of the Pacific. We brought our World War II veterans that we had at the time to them to tell their story. We as a detachment, we invited the Wounded Warriors down at San Antonio. When they had the Marines down there, they were injured and healing up, that lost limbs and things. We invited them to the museum, and our Marines from World War II went around the museum with them, talking about their experiences on those islands.
No kidding! Wow.
No kidding. Yes, and we also had lunch for them after the tour. So
man,
yeah,
what an experience that would have been, though.
Yes.
Wow.
Like these World War II guys, we had some of them that actually worked with Chesty Puller.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
So I said, "Oh my goodness, you bet Chesty Puller when he was a colonel? Wow,
Yeah, exactly.
That's when he was in Guadalcanal, So
yeah, I mean that's iconic Marine Corps legend right there.
Yes. Like it says, there's some things about the Marine Corps League. The centerpieces they had, we had those centerpieces for our state convention here in Pflugerville when we had the Texas
Oh,
State
really?
Convention, and I was
Okay.
looking all over for something different because I was always the one stuck with making centerpieces, and I said, I want to find something that's great, and I don't have to make it. And I found
Yeah.
these at Hobby Lobby. I went to Amazon and checked theirs out and stuff, and I was trying to find something that was cheap and inexpensive. Hobby Lobby had it for like $20.
No
Bought a
kidding.
bunch of them and stuff. We told the National.
Mm-hmm.
National went to Hobby Lobby, and they got several cases of those things. And we're going to
Wow.
keep them for future years
Yeah.
because they're so good.
Yeah. They're
Everybody loved
beautiful.
the centerpieces.
Everybody wanted to take it.
Yes, yes, and that's what they used to do.
Yeah.
They used to do that, and the ones I built, I used to make. I used to make them, put them on a base. I used to make ones that are about 18 inches tall, and I would
wow.
put things on there. Like the first one I made out of metal was the Eagle Globe and Anchor there, and
Nice.
then below it was a square, which I put a patch of Texas with the Marine Corps League with Texas inside of there.
Yeah.
And I put squadron unit patches on the outside, divisions and stuff like that. One time I used little jars and I hand painted them, and I hand painted the divisions patches and the wing patches, and put a light bulb inside of it, an electric light bulb, little light lamp, little tiny lamp, and put that on a thing with the flags on the boards. So we had that we made. So we did that. That was when we were doing a lot of things for World War II and stuff in Korea. Sometimes we would make flowers, stuff and flower arrangements and stuff, put it there. Second metal sign was we put a big round thing. We made a special sticker on there, and it was I forget what it was, but it was something with the Marine Corps associated with that. And again, squadron or division and battalion stickers on there, squadron stickers. So just on the base with the flags and stuff. So this year I said I want to do something, that's not so taxing on me. I had to hand paint the base wood and stuff like this, gold and red, black for the metal things, and had to find the stickers to put on the metal thing. We had them painted black. They were, professionally done by a person we know that worked in a metalsmith place that did painting and coatings of metals and stuff. So, it was a group effort. We worked together to try to get this stuff done. So
very nice. Yeah. Very nice.
And that's how it is. And we have other people that were, fighting to get the location, the dinners, find a good, check out the cooks or the whatever, the caterers and stuff. Running around finding sponsors, making the booklet for the ball and stuff.
Right.
Convention. So,
it's a big year for the balls, though.
Yeah.
250.
Yeah, I know. We're talking about it, and we're behind because we did the state convention, and then we had the national convention in August.
Right.
So there wasn't nothing really to talk about. So we're going to start hot and heavy in September, getting the caterer, finding the location, and we already have a lady said she wants to make the centerpieces, and she wants to use put a light behind, very light paper, and have printed on the paper scenes from the Marine Corps. So it's going to be very cool. So I said, okay. So she's going to do it, and I says, go for it, So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. Well, hey, we look pretty good for 250.
Yeah. Yes. Good. I still miss the tanks, though. I wish they would have kept the M1s.
I know, man. They were so awesome. Holy cow.
Marines are going to need something that goes on the shore that's going to, they can hide behind. That's going to protect them, And something big is going to take out the bunkers or whatever, other tanks or.
Yeah.
But, with all these anti-tank stuff they have nowadays,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
good point. Something good. So I don't know. Maybe they're right, one anti-tank missile can take out a tank,
Yeah.
Maybe it is better to have a bunch of Marines out there,
Yeah. Well, hey, I always do these rapid fire questions at the end. Okay. So I'd like to do those with you if you don't mind. All right. What is your proudest military moment?
Graduating from boot camp.
Ooh, okay. I like it. That's good. What is your most embarrassing military moment?
I was arming a seat in the hangar, and I was working on putting the latches on the primary charge of the ejection seat,
Mm-hmm.
and the pin slipped out of my hand, and I almost ejected myself through the hangar.
Oh, jeez.
And when that happened, I pooped in my pants.
Oh, my God.
So that was my most embarrassing moment.
I've got to be honest. That is probably the best embarrassing moment
Yeah.
that I've heard so far. That was good.
I walked back to the barracks, took a shower, and changed my uniform. So,
Wow.
and
Holy cow.
the commanding officer was driving by in his car, and he saw me walking. He wanted me to get in his car, and I said, "Sir, no, that's okay, sir. I'm fine, sir. I'm fine. I got it, sir. I need to walk, sir. I didn't want to tell him I poop in my pants." So, but
That's good.
but
Yeah.
I was scared to death when that happened. Because I'm
Yeah.
over, flinching and just trying to get that in there, and then also,
Man, that could have been a
out.
bad day.
It would have been a bad day for me
Yeah.
because I had everything
Holy
set up
cow.
already, and I just had to get the primary in. That was it.
Yeah.
And attach the
Holy
latches.
moly.
So,
Jeez.
whew.
All right.
So
If you could
what
be
else?
one military leader for a day, who would that be?
One military leader for a day, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. I go so
You
for
want to
Secretary of the
choose
Air
one.
Force.
Secretary of the Air Force?
Yeah, they need to be fixed.
Okay.
They got it too easy. They got it too
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. Okay. I like that. All right. What is one lesson or skill that you learned that you still use today?
When you have a whole lot to do the easiest stuff first
Mm,
to get rid of the pile, and then work on the hardest stuff, going by what needs to be done, what needs to be finished first.
yeah. Oh, that was good. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. In the zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice and what anthem would be playing?
Well, let's see. I would like an AR platform that shoots 308 bullets
Ooh, okay.
and a 45,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know, Flight of the Valkyries,
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
or theme song from Patton.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Mhm.
All right, what animal best describes your time in service?
I guess it has to be the bulldog, tenacious.
Oh, okay. I like it. I like it. Yeah. All right, hold on a second. I've got to find it. Okay, here it is. Knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again?
Yes, but I probably wouldn't marry Denise again. Or if I did, I wouldn't have been as trusting and would have not have given her the car when I caught her the second time when I came home. I would have taken that car with me, left her with my 64 Plymouth Valiant.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. All right. Well, I always leave it here with this. What words of wisdoms do you have for our listeners?
Talk to your veterans, get their stories, their histories, because they have some amazing stories to tell. Not everybody went into the combat zone. I supported many combat operations from either stateside or Ramstein Air Force Base or Viano, Italy. I didn't go into Yugoslavia. I didn't go down to the Gulf, but I was supporting everybody from the Gulf. I shipped everybody out from the West Coast, and I shipped, we sent care packages from Dover. We built those things to put on C5s. So
Right.
I was there helping everything, getting stuff to go through. And we brought them back. We unloaded their stuff. We helped load the trucks and the buses when they came back. We welcomed them home when they came back from the Gulf War.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. Well, hey, thanks for coming on and doing this, Chuck.
No problem.
I truly appreciate it. It's been great talking to you. Like I said before, don't hang up on me and wait till the
Okay.
very end of the outro. But I always end talking about veteran suicide and ways that they can get help. So, to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA has some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know Chuck cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Chuck, one last time. Thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
Thanks for tuning in to the Lost Art Project Veterans Voices podcast. Our mission? Simple. Preserve history, one veteran story at a time. If you'd like to support this work, consider making a donation or sponsoring an episode. Every contribution helps us capture and share more stories for future generations. You can learn more and give at thelostart.podbean.com or by clicking the link in the episode's description. Stay motivated, change your socks, and remember, every story matters.